Relocation. So that comes up from time to time. This is where a parent is trying to move from where they are to a different location. Depending on where you are in Illinois, it's a 25-mile radius or 50-mile radius. Now, where our office is located, it's typically 25-mile radius in most of the cases that we see. So what this means is that if you want to move, you can move anywhere you want within 25 miles around where you're at without asking the court's permission. What happens if you want to move beyond that? Well, there's some specific things that need to get done. So as soon as you know that you want to move beyond that, you got to give the other side notice. And if possible, the courts want you to give at least 60 days notice. There's actually a form that you can fill out where you're saying, this is where I intend to move, this is how long, the reasons for the move, etc. Now, if the other side is willing to sign off on this document, great, you're golden. Sign the document, have it filed with the court, go move to your new place, and you're all set. Now, what happens if they don't agree? Well, this is where things are going to get escalated. So now what you have to do is you have to file a petition with the court saying, I want to move more than 25 miles. The court is then going to have to evaluate, how are we going to make this decision? They're going to look at what they call the best interest of the child. So in this situation, we're going to be looking at a variety of different factors, but let's break it down. The most important thing would be like, why does this person want to move? Why do they want to take the child from where they are to this new location? What are the underlying reasons for that? The other thing they're going to look at is, why is the other side opposing it, right? If they are opposing it just to oppose it, well, let's take a look at what that relationship was like. What kind of parenting time was the opposing party exercising? Were they doing everything they were supposed to be doing? Then if we do consider this move, let's assume that it's for a good purpose and it's not just to screw over the ex. Can we have a reasonable parenting schedule under this move? So for example, if a parent has 50-50 parenting time and this move will now move them 70, 100 miles away, it now basically takes away half of the parenting time. There's no way that they're now going to be able to exercise 50-50 parenting time. So there has to be a very good reason for it. The reality is just a little bit more money or a promotion is usually not enough, because if you've got an active parent and you're now trying to remove that from a child, no amount of money can replace that. Now, on the other hand, if you have a parent that's completely inactive and absent from the child's life, now all of a sudden they're showing up, the court's not really going to put as much weight into that. So it's really based upon those unique circumstances of whatever you're going through. So as soon as you know that you want to move, it's important to take action quickly, because if you are making plans and you're not thinking ahead, you can have a problem, because this litigation can often take several months to years depending upon what's going on. Let's assume that a relocation has been granted. Now what? What do we do with parenting time? Well, we have to figure out what makes sense. A lot of that's going to depend upon distance. Is this something that we could have, multiple weekends in a month? Sometimes you can have the majority of weekends in a month. But if you move too far away, that might make that even prohibitive. What's the travel cost going to be to make this parenting schedule work? We have to look into those things. That can often be something that a court will grant as part of the relocation. They can say, all right, you want to move? Then you have to pay the travel costs to make sure that the parenting time takes place. The most common thing would be to make it up during breaks. As we've talked about in parenting schedules, you've got your regular parenting time, which is during the school year. You've got your holidays and you've got breaks. So summer break, spring break, winter break. That's an opportunity to make up some parenting time that might have been lost otherwise. But it's all going to be dependent upon those unique circumstances of your situation. If you've been given relocation papers and you are against it, you cannot stick your head in the sand. This is something you have to fight. You have to get into court and explain to them why you are against this. Because if the court grants that relocation, you can't then go to an attorney after the fact and say, can you help me get my kids back? It's too late at that point. You need to recognize that this may not have been something that you asked for. You may not want this. But the reality is, you now have to make this your priority. You need to get somebody in your corner as soon as possible to fight for your rights. Because as a parent, there's nothing more important. And if you don't fight for this, this will be something you regret the rest of your life. Relocation is a very, very important topic. It's a big thing that's going to happen in your life, and hopefully it's not happening too often. But if it is, and you are faced with either looking to move or you're trying to stop a move, you need to make sure you understand your rights. You need to understand your arguments so ultimately you can present it to the judge. At Reidy Law Office, we have handled this situation before. We know what it takes to fight these situations, and we'd be honored to help you.